Story recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain an action and horror film called Wormwood Apocalypse. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. As a zombie-human hybrid, Brooke still struggles to control herself and bites Grace as she stops her from killing a soldier. Grace orders her sister Maxi to shoot Brooke, but Brooke's brother Barry begs her not to do it. Using blood in a small tube, Barry tries to calm Brooke down and watches as she drinks it. Then, Barry convinces Grace that everything is fine, but the girl shoots his hand with an arrow. Despite that, Barry instructs Brooke not to harm the sisters and let them go. Meanwhile, a soldier, Rhys, wakes up at home and exercises before taking his medication. Once he's dressed and armed, Rhys goes out and shoots the zombies surrounding his enclosed property. He also uses the breath of one zombie to fire up his grill and other zombies to make some of his chores easier. Then, he catapults Meat into the fields to lead the undead away from the gate so he can leave. After locking the gates, Rhys drives for miles to patrol the fields. He then loads his grenade launcher and turns on the radio, listening to any news from his fellow soldiers. It isn't long before the man on the radio mentions the arrival of a two-wheeler, prompting Rhys to check it and shoot at the motorcycle. Once the motorcycle is down, Rhys immediately approaches it and sees its driver, the Spider. Without hesitation, Rhys shoots the Spider using a stun gun, restrains him, and takes him to a bunker. There, he is greeted by the Surgeon General, who instructs his soldiers to bring the man inside for his experiment. At the same time, Rhys asks the Surgeon General if they're close to finding a cure. The Colonel then informs Rhys that the hybrid's been spotted with her brother in Sector 8, showing him a photo of Brooke and Barry. Rhys wants to know who the other two girls in the picture are, but the Surgeon General just wants him to focus on Brooke. The Colonel also points out that by doing that, Rhys can finally kill the guy who killed his brother. Then, the Surgeon General feels pain in his arm, so he goes back inside as the Colonel tells Rhys to bring Brooke to them alive. Meanwhile, inside their vehicle, Grace and Maxi discuss what Brooke did. Grace says they can't trust Brooke and Barry anymore, but Maxi points out that their uncle Benny trusted them. Sadly, Grace reminds Maxi that their uncle is already dead, and soon she starts transforming into a zombie. As Grace loses control, Maxi stops the car and gives her some blood. Grace then returns to normal, so Maxi gives her another tube of blood before getting ready to leave. Unfortunately, their vehicle is shot, causing it to flip and rendering the sisters unconscious for seconds. When Grace regains consciousness, she sees an approaching truck, so she immediately checks on Maxi. Armed, Rhys approaches the smoking vehicle and only finds the zombie the sisters use for their car's fuel. Then, a grenade is thrown in front of Rhys and makes him lose his balance and gun, allowing Grace to attack him with a bat. Rhys also drops his other gun, so Grace picks it up and shoots at him. Of course, Rhys uses his shield to protect himself, but once Grace runs out of bullets, he quickly comes at her. Picking up his stun gun, Rhys shoots Grace and removes her mask before taking her to his truck. At that moment, Maxi comes out of the trunk and realizes her sister is missing. In the bunker, the Surgeon General ruthlessly takes a woman's blood through the nose, changes it into serum, and injects it into his infected arm. The Colonel then arrives and sees what he's doing, ordering one of his men to kill the Surgeon General. But before the guy can do that, the Colonel shoots him and tells the Surgeon General to hide his symptoms better. As it turns out, he's also been bitten and he always gets his medicine from the Surgeon General. Concurrently, Grace wakes up in Rhys's truck and kicks him in the face, subduing him using her legs. However, Grace loses control of herself as she transforms into a zombie, giving Rhys a chance to point a gun at her. So, Grace quickly takes out her tube of blood and drinks it, surprising Rhys that she's a hybrid when she returns to normal. Then, Rhys knocks Grace out and takes her tube before leaving, but he soon realizes she's one of the girls in the picture with Brooke. Moments later, they arrive at the bunker, where the soldiers put some barrels in the back of Rhys's truck. Rhys then informs the Colonel he's brought him a hybrid, and the Colonel immediately orders his men to get Grace. Of course, the hybrid put up a fight first, but the soldiers eventually subdue her. Rhys calms Grace down with some blood, and as the soldiers take her inside, he asks the Colonel to let him know if she's a key to the cure. Rhys's truck stops as he drives, so he decides to get rid of the zombies he uses for fuel in the woods. He then entices some zombies with raw meat, unaware that Maxi is in the area. Once a zombie comes out of the woods, Rhys quickly shoots it in the leg and takes it to his truck to be used for fuel. After that, Rhys restarts the truck and drives away, not knowing that Maxi has gotten in the back of his vehicle. He brings the barrels to HQ, where the doctor orders his men to take them in exchange for a crate and a bag. At the same time, Maxi hides under Rhys's truck. Back in the bunker, Grace regains consciousness and finds herself restrained. Then, the Surgeon General starts acting strange, trying to control his infected arm as it attacks him. With no other choice, the Surgeon General tapes his arm to his thigh before taking the spider's blood to create a serum. Upon getting home, Rhys turns on the floodlight to drive the zombies away. He then examines the equipment inside the crate and the bag, which contains boxes of pills. But as he rests, the power suddenly goes out. Arming himself, Rhys goes outside to turn the power back on and investigate, and when he returns to his small house, Maxi shoots him using his stun gun. The next day, a restrained Rhys wakes up and sees Maxi. Maxi quickly points her airbow at Rhys and demands to know how she'll get her sister back, firing a warning shot when the guy asks who she's talking about. Pissed, Maxi takes out her gun and threatens to shoot Rhys, telling him they're going for a drive. Despite Maxi's hostility, Rhys offers to treat her wound, and the girl reluctantly accepts. After Rhys stitches up her wound, Maxi forces him to get in the truck. She also takes Rhys' spare gun as she points her airbow at him, making him smash through the gate. Rhys then takes his antiviral pills while driving, saying that's how he stays alive, but Maxi notices Brooke's picture and asks him why he has it. Rhys replies that it's because Brooke is a killer, just like everyone else in that photo. Enraged, Maxi accuses Rhys of kidnapping and killing people, but the soldier denies that. Then, he uses a modified handbrake to throw Maxi out of the vehicle and shoots her with his stun gun. Now, Maxi is the one who's bound and gagged as Rhys takes her to the bunker. A few minutes later, the colonel comes out with his men. Rhys informs him that he has Grace's sister, so the colonel orders one of the soldiers to get Maxi. However, Rhys protests when he sees Maxi being treated harshly by the soldier, who says the girl will eventually end up in a barrel. Confused, Rhys asks the colonel what the soldier meant, but when the colonel tells him to leave, Rhys shoots him and his men using his stun gun and leaves with Maxi. Unfortunately, it isn't long before the colonel's men go after Rhys and Maxi, so Rhys activates his nitro, and once Maxi frees herself, she puts on a mask and starts shooting at the vehicle chasing them. Luckily, Rhys manages to use the nitro in time, allowing their truck to move at high speed. When the truck slows down, Rhys assures Maxi that their enemies don't have nitro, but the guys chasing them quickly catch up to them, so Maxi ejects from the truck using the modified handbrake. Meanwhile, Rhys is unable to do anything as the soldiers blow up his vehicle. Later on, Rhys wakes up and realizes he's hanging from a tree. The colonel eagerly shoots Rhys and mentions that his brother died with honor, revealing he was the captain that Barry set on fire and Brooke killed using her zombie horde. Then, the colonel insults Rhys as he tells him he's about to die, intending to leave him to the zombies. Once the colonel and his men are gone, Rhys tries to free himself, but several zombies soon notice Rhys attempting to reach his legs that he desperately lifts to avoid the undead. Rhys then eventually gives up, but Brooke arrives with Maxi and Barry, controlling the zombies to stop them from eating Rhys. Rhys loses consciousness, and when he wakes up, he finds himself tied to a chair in a room with Brooke and Barry. Barry is confused since the captain is already dead, so Rhys reveals that the guy they killed was his twin. Annoyed, Barry tells Rhys his brother got what he deserved and plans to make him pay for what he did to Grace. Brooke also makes it clear she wants to kill Rhys and takes him down, so the soldier says he can be her friend. Rhys takes Barry's group to HQ, telling them what to expect upon storming the place. Green gas also comes out of his mouth as he coughs, but he can't take his pills because Barry has them. When Rhys refuses to say what they're for, Barry throws the pills on the ground and watches the soldier take one. Disgusted, Barry asks Rhys how he could take people and give them to the Surgeon General to be experimented on. Rhys then claims he didn't know they were being killed, but Brooke doesn't believe him and attacks him. Again, Barry calms his sister down with a tube of blood, and it isn't long before Brooke uses her powers to control a zombie in a van to kill a couple of soldiers. Afterward, Barry and the others break into the facility using their weapons and Brooke's zombies. There, Barry opens one barrel where the Surgeon General put the spider's body. In disbelief, Rhys asks Barry to untie him before interrogating the doctor. Rhys asks the doctor what happens to the people in the bunker, and the guy immediately admits that they grow a curative serum inside them and extract it. However, the serum can't cure anyone and only keeps the virus from taking hold. Rhys then asks why they're using barrels and beats the doctor, and that's when the man reveals that they grind up people and convert them to powder form to create pills. Upon learning the truth, Rhys repeatedly shoots the doctor and disarms Barry when he tries to comfort him. He also points the gun at Barry as he tells Brooke not to interfere, saying he'll go to the bunker with them to make things right. Meanwhile, the colonel takes his pills before trying to take Grace's blood, but the Surgeon General stops him. At the same time, a soldier informs them that they have a situation upstairs, and they see Brooke's group on the monitor. Barry and Rhys wear gas masks to protect themselves from zombie breath, and soon Rhys places zombies in the chamber and sends them down to the bunker. Then, 3 soldiers come out since they think Rhys is there to give them Brooke, but the hybrid only controls one of the zombies in the bunker to blow up the place. Unsatisfied, Brooke uses her other zombies to shoot the soldiers while Rhys, Barry, and Maxi fire at them too. Then, Barry stops the bunker door from closing, and the other zombie Rhys placed in the chamber blows up another part of the bunker. Barry and Rhys continue using Brooke's zombies to blow up the bunker before sending Maxi down there. After that, the trio goes inside the bunker where Maxi has already started looking for Grace. Through the vents, Maxi reaches the control room and kills the soldier there before giving access to Brooke, Barry, and Rhys. Then, the Colonel tells the Surgeon General he'll deal with Barry and Rhys, who kill every soldier they see in the bunker. Rhys also releases the caged zombies to be used by Brooke, and seconds later, she finally locates Grace. With no time to waste, Rhys opens the door as Brooke and her zombies move to get Grace. But the door suddenly closes before Rhys and Barry can join her, and the Surgeon General lets out a cyborg zombie to kill Brooke. The Surgeon General controls the cyborg and easily kills Brooke's zombies, but Brooke refuses to be defeated and arms herself with a pipe. In the other room, the Colonel shows Barry and Rhys he's captured Maxi and orders them to drop their weapons before hitting the girl. He then shoots Barry and prepares to shoot Rhys too, but Rhys hits him with a sliding compartment and fights with him. Concurrently, Brooke struggles to kill the cyborg zombie. As Rhys fights the Colonel, Barry attempts to reach a gun. Unfortunately, the Colonel knocks Rhys out with a sliding compartment and deals with Barry by choking him and grabbing his exposed guts. Despite that, Barry manages to headbutt the Colonel, and once Rhys regains consciousness, he quickly comes at the big guy. Meanwhile, Grace controls the Surgeon General's infected arm in the operating room. She makes the Surgeon General knock himself down, which also knocks down the cyborg zombie. Grace makes the Surgeon General hit himself repeatedly, so Brooke takes that opportunity to bash the cyborg's head. After that, Grace forces the Surgeon General to choke himself, but he grabs a weapon and electrocutes her. At the same time, the cyborg zombie is still alive and pins Brooke against the wall. So, Brooke uses a plug to electrocute the zombie, which electrocutes the Surgeon General too. The Colonel and Rhys are still fighting, but the power suddenly goes out, allowing Maxi to sneak up on the Colonel and blow his head off. However, their problem isn't over yet, for the Surgeon General is still alive. The Surgeon General then calls for backup as Maxi forces the door open and checks on Brooke, who's lost control of herself again. With no other choice, Maxi hides in the cage as Brooke attacks her while Rhys retreats to the other room with Barry and closes the door. To make things worse, all of Barry's tubes of blood have cracked, but Rhys sees a refrigerator full of blood bags. So, upon opening the door, Barry shoots Brooke with the stun gun while Rhys rushes to get a blood bag. Sad to say, he slips on blood, but he quickly gets up as Maxi tries to open the refrigerator. Once he gets a blood bag, Rhys quickly goes after Brooke, who's biting Barry. Then, Brooke attacks Rhys and causes him to drop the blood bag, but Maxi picks it up and splashes the blood on the hybrid's face. Brooke quickly calms down, only to realize what she's done to Barry. Still, Barry can stand with Brooke's help, but they all fail to save Grace as the Surgeon General escapes with her through the chamber. Unfortunately, a grenade attached to a zombie suddenly explodes. As if that isn't enough, the bunker's self-destruct sequence has been initiated, and as the door closes, Barry transforms into a zombie. Using Barry's breath, Brooke fires up the chamber to send Maxi and Rhys outside. Then, Brooke holds Barry's hand, accepting that they won't be able to survive. Moments later, the Surgeon General reaches Rhys's place and orders his men to get the BS-2000 equipment, sticking a cannula up Grace's nose. He also asks one of the soldiers to do the same thing to him, unaware that Rhys and Maxi are on their way there. After that, the Surgeon General turns on the equipment, transforming Grace's blood into serum and transferring it into his body. He then becomes a hybrid and shoots the soldiers when one of them discovers his bite, immediately hiding before Rhys and Maxi see him. Afterward, the Surgeon General attacks Rhys and places Maxi in a cage. The Surgeon General eagerly beats up Rhys, also thanking the guy for keeping him alive for a year by delivering people to him. Then, the Surgeon General prepares to crush Rhys's skull, but Grace impales him with a long bar before mutilating him. Grace also comes at Rhys, but she immediately stops when she smells the blood bag he's hiding and takes it to feed. Finally, Grace frees Maxi and hugs her while Rhys shoots the Surgeon General in the head before trying to kill himself. However, Grace stops Rhys and Maxi asks him to take his medication so he can continue living and help them. At the same time, Barry and Brooke come out of the bunker, luckily surviving the explosion.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.